Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we are in Ciudad En Emorada, which is the world that came with The Sims 4 Lovestruck, and I decided I wanted to recreate this image that I found on Pinterest. I believe it is of some kind of multi-unit living quarters. I'm not sure if it's an AI image or if an actual human artist created it, so take that as you will. But I really liked what the outside of this building looked like, and I thought that I could recreate it with the strategic use of platforms and different wall heights. So I did my very best. So I hope that you enjoy it. And if you do, please be sure to like and subscribe and comment whatever you think, because I love hearing from you guys, and any correspondence is much appreciated, so thank you so much. You'll see I'm kind of adjusting the shape of this. I started out really big, and then I said, I think it's like a little too big, maybe I can adjust it this way or that way. I was just kind of fiddling around for a long time, especially with these platforms, because they were not quite doing what I wanted them to, and I knew I wanted the stairs to have some kind of overhang in the front. But that was pretty much it. It also took me a while to figure out how the image would correspond with like the actual layout of the apartment. So you'll see here I did the roofing on this side where like the little kind of cutout is. That does change. I'm not sure if I showed the whole process on camera or not, because I realized that my levels were off. Like I needed one more level up before I did that weird roofing thing. So my apologies, but eventually I did figure it out. And this ends up being 4 units. Most of the units are just 1 bed, 1 bath. There is one, I guess you'd call it family size unit. It has 2 bedrooms and still 1 bathroom, unfortunately. But then the upstairs of the kids' room ends up being like a playroom area because her bedroom was so small. I thought she could use a little extra space. And also there's a tiny little attic space that is shown in the image. So I wanted that to correspond correctly. It also took me a really long time to figure out the awning for the front door of this like second level unit. I did eventually go with the one that came with Jungle Adventure. The one that you see here as I'm placing these windows from Lovestruck is also from Lovestruck, but I didn't love the I didn't love the yellow tone on the shingles of the awning. I didn't think it quite matched the roof shingles, and it didn't give what the image was giving. You know what I mean? So I did end up changing it to the one from Jungle Adventure instead, because I just thought that it translated better. I thought that it looked closer to the image, and I just like this one a lot better with the little terracotta tiles. I don't know. It's one of my favorites. I like using this one. I actually used it in my last build, the little home and spa business that I made in Oasis Springs, I believe. So yes, I have a type, I guess. But here you'll see I'm messing around with the roofs, and I'm just pulling everything off because I realized I completely screwed up and I needed to adjust a few things. So I did in fact show this on camera. Okay, good. I'm glad. I recorded this maybe a week ago. Things have been a little crazy with my kids' schedule and my schedule, and then I was just really tired and not super duper feeling up to it. So it has taken me a long time to get this voiceover recorded. It's actually been done for about a week, and I've just been staring at it, not wanting to do the voiceover. So I am being brave today, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try not to need to edit it too much, because that's the bane of my existence. But anyway, you'll see I finished up the roof, and I think it came out really nice. It's very close to the inspiration image. Tried to keep the window placement in correspondence with the image as well, so that everything looked right. And then I also used this very nice light blue color on the outside of the main building. And then for the stairs and part of the building, I used, I think it's the Riviera Retreat stone on the wall. I thought that it just looked really nice, and it kind of resembled what is also in the image. I couldn't obviously match it completely because we don't have those little birdhouses that mount to the side of the wall like I see pictured there. And all the other decorations I tried to put on the wall just didn't quite look right. So I did my best with what I had available to me. Also love this little pergola that I think came with a base game update a couple years ago now at this point, but I thought that it matched this home so well. And I did not have an image of the back, obviously, so I had to kind of wing it. I thought that could be another entrance to a different unit. And then I also added a live edit building, debug and live edit building. So it is just a shell. Nobody can go in or come out of it. It is basically just a big decorative box that I did not have to build myself, because in the image it looked like this was part of like a city block or some kind of, town, and I wanted it to match on this very large lot. So that is why I stuck the little default building in there, and that is from Lovestruck Debug and Live Edit. So it matches, and I thought it looked really nice. So hope you enjoy that. That's a little trick that I use sometimes if I'm building a smaller home on a bigger lot, is I'll just place a shell of a building that comes with that same pack, and that way it'll match. I think I did it in Growing Together's world, and I forget. None recently that I can remember, but it is definitely a handy little trick. And then I was trying to add some vines and also this street lamp, which I did put inside the wall. That required a little bit of adjustment with like the tool mod and stuff. It was very challenging. I had to kind of move things around little by little as I was building, including this shell of a building, because it was clipping in slightly to my build, and that was really annoying. So I tried my best to just move everything around, and I didn't want to show all of the annoying things on camera, because at times I was kind of just staring at it going, what the heck am I doing? But that is how Sims builds go, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Here's just some little posters, and also the mailbox goes on the outside of this unit. And then I placed some planters, because I did notice in the image there were some plants out front, and I wanted it to look like whoever lives on this bottom floor has all these plants out, like this is their little plant collection. So I used this block from Desert Luxe, and I raised up a plant, I believe, or I just stuck a plant in there, and it looks like it is in its own pot. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But first I placed the bike, and then another one of these smaller blocks, but I had to use tool mod to lower it down. It kept trying to jump up to the foundation height, which was very annoying. Same thing with this large assortment of plants that came with Growing Together. Everything wanted to jump up because I used platforms, and the game does not like when you use platforms and try to put things super duper close. So we already know this. Here's that plant I was talking about. That one is from Crystal Creation. So I just kind of slid it into the block, and it seemed to work out just fine. Also, this little live house plant I placed with the shelf trick, and then I moved the block back into place. So it looks like it's sitting on top of the block. Now, I do not know if your Sims will actually be able to get to this plant. So fair warning, those plants might die. You might just want to place a different kind of plant here, one that is not a live house plant that your Sim actually has to keep alive. I just thought they looked really pretty. And for the sake of building and having pretty little pictures to put at the end of my video, I just kept that the way it was. So do with that information what you will. But I thought it looked really nice. I also used a bunch of debug and live edit plants from this world, from Lovestruck, and I tried to position them into the pots and then also all around as the landscaping. I tried not to use too much from the regular build by catalog, mostly just debug and live edit, because I thought they looked nicer, honestly, and they also kind of disappear if you get too close, so that makes it a little easier to play in this home, which is nice. And then I also made sure to throw in some plants between the regular build and also the shell building, so that it all kind of blended together really nicely. I didn't do a lot of decorating to the shell, except some vines that matched our building, just to kind of make it all seem like one cohesive thing. And then I also love these big purple palm fronds that I put in here. I thought they looked really, really nice, and I tried to grab as many plants as I could that matched the feel of this world and put it on this little outside patio space for the other ground floor unit, which ends up being, I think, for like a single Sim or a young couple. I think I envisioned it for a bachelor of a sorts, but that was my whole vision, was for like a man who lives here, a single man who lives here. And then the other bottom floor apartment was for a single lady who lives here, maybe even a single student who lives there, because it is kind of fun and colorful. I think that you'll really enjoy it. I know I'm getting ahead of myself while I'm just placing ivy and random stuff on the outside of the walls, but I was very, very excited to build for a variety of different Sims here, because I thought that it was a very big challenge for me. I kind of tend to keep the builds that I do looking very samey, and I use a lot of the same items over and over because, we get comfortable. We like certain things, we don't like others. I tried to really go outside my comfort zone with this one and throw in a bunch of different stuff. So I hope that you enjoy it. Also, some plants on this little tiny shelf on the outside of this window, just because in the image there are plants on the outside of that window and also on top of the air conditioning unit, and I wanted to reflect that a little bit. The one air conditioning unit where you can see the fan, that is a functional air conditioning unit. So if you have a thermostat inside the unit, you will be able to sync it to that air conditioner and you'll actually see the fan move. The other one is base game and it doesn't really do anything. It's just a wall decoration. So, I wanted both of them though, because they were both in the inspiration image. There was like 2 little boxes outside the one window, and I really wanted to keep up with that. Also some more wall plants, just because we know we love our plants in this game. And then out here, just a little bit of a view of the landscaping. I tried to keep all of the flowers and shrubs the same all throughout the lot, nice and cohesive so that everything went together nicely. And now we are working on the single student's apartment. There is a Murphy bed. It is a fold out bed. It is a little dangerous. If I were you, I would make sure that somebody can come here and upgrade that so that it is less dangerous for your sim and they don't instantly die when they try to close up the bed. Or open it and then it squishes them. That did not happen to my playtester sim this time, but there was a time where I playtested a build that had a Murphy bed and my playtester sim died. And it was very, very, very unfortunate. So that is my one suggestion. Make sure that that bed gets upgraded so it is less dangerous. And then I put in these little shelving units, like kind of built-ins, to kind of hide the weird corner that I have going on there. I built like a tiny little room to hide the clipping of the street lamp and also the vines that I put outside. It was bothering me. I didn't know what else to do with it, so I just took that whole little rectangle and just said, you know what? It doesn't exist. It's just a box, and that's fine with me. So hope that you enjoy that. Now we're just going to move into the kitchen, though. I just wanted to get a basic layout. I'm not going to do any cluttering to the rooms at this point. I wanted to work little by little and just get the basics in. So we have our countertops, we have our cabinets, wanted to make sure the basics were in there. Also a little dining area over here with the table and chairs that came with businesses and hobbies. I thought that was very good to use. I think they're really cute and the wood tones all matched really nicely. So that was the most important thing to me. There's a little dining area. There's a cute little bathroom. It's very simple. I did change out the shower for this other base game one because I thought that it matched the tile a lot nicer. And then I exchanged for a little bit more expensive toilet and then the sink from Dream Home Decorator and the mirror, which I think is from Love Struck. Yes, it has all the pictures and stuff on it. I thought that was really cute and it kind of gives a youthful energy to the space, and I did want to keep that space feeling very young. And then over here at the bachelor's apartment, quote unquote, that's just what I called it so that I would remember where I was. This is a very blue apartment. It's kind of blue, brownish, gray, very like muted, understated. In the kitchen, we have the same kind of countertops and cabinets, just in a different color. They have a little dining area as an island, and then this little hallway that leads to a bathroom and also like a TV room / study. And over here is the bedroom. I love this bed. I'm pretty sure it's from Seasons. It's either Seasons or Parenthood, but it's one of my favorite beds. It just looks so comfy. And then the nightstands are very tiny. They are from Dream Home Decorator, so I used the matching dressers. Paired them together because they're modular, so they kind of snap together really nice. And then the mirror is from Parenthood. This wallpaper is just nice plain blue. I thought it was really, really cute, and I left it at that for now. I will get back to cluttering it up later. Over here, like I said, this is like the TV room, the entertaining room, and also like the office, and there ends up being a computer desk and also some bookshelves in here. And then I do a lot of rearranging, but this is the basic setup. I did want to have a large computer, so I believe I went with this one from the Comfy Gamer kit. It is one of my favorite kits. And then this bookshelf, which I think is also from Dream Home Decorator, and also the wood tones in this apartment match very well. Also, they're like a lightish brown. They're not quite the honey brown tone in the other apartment, slightly different. I tried to keep everything pretty much the same, but slightly different, because if you owned an apartment complex or a condo complex, I assume that most of the basic amenities would pretty much be the same all throughout the different units, just like slightly different depending on what you could get at that time. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But now we are up to the second floor apartment. This is the family apartment, the 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And again, same countertops and cabinets, just in a different color. I chose this green one. You will see the pergola like slats are poking through the wall. I kind of just ignore it in the kitchen, and in the bathroom I cover it up with a cabinet. So you can't even tell it's there. But I really enjoyed decorating this apartment. The living, kitchen, dining situation is very squished, but I think it is very functional. I did play test it. Everything works. Everybody can get to everything. Everybody can perform the basic functions. And also what I discovered when I was doing my playtesting is I didn't put a trash can in any of my apartments. So don't worry, when you download this from the gallery, everybody has a trash can in their apartment. I completely spaced on that and didn't realize it till the very end. So there you go. I don't even think it's in the screenshots and in the slideshow that I put at the end of here. So there's that. Anyway, we know how these things go. We get tunnel vision and we just like want to be done. And we're like, you know what? We're fine. We're done. No, you're not. No, you're not. You forgot the trash cans outside and inside. But anyway, I digress. So we are moving upstairs. We have 2 bedrooms up here. One is for the parent and one is for the child. And then I use this lovely bed from Business and Hobbies with the matching end tables. And over here we have the parenthood bed matched with the high school years end table. And I believe I also use a high school years dresser in there, if I'm not mistaken. Again, this was a week ago, so I'm doing my best. But I didn't want to clutter up these rooms too much either. I just wanted to throw in the essentials, like the dressers and stuff, make sure that they had everything that they needed, and then I will come back and clutter those up later. This is the rear upper apartment. So this one is a little smaller, definitely a lot more squished. So over here we have a tiny little living space. I tried to keep it very colorful and fun. The kitchen is basically just a little tiny galley kitchen. They have a bar height table with some bar height chairs, and then a nice little, kitchen setup. And you will notice I don't have a door to the bathroom that is behind the kitchen. I didn't realize that for the longest time, but eventually I did realize that, and I had to make adjustments, as you will see here. So I had to kind of move things around, adjust this wall. I completely spaced on that too. Again, it's been a long couple of weeks, and I'm just doing my best. So there you will see I have changed it up a little bit. Only a tiny little space is tile. The rest is all wood floors. And then they have a tiny little bathroom behind their extra squishy kitchen. And I think it came out really nice though. I enjoyed this one. This one was also play tested. Don't worry. I play tested every apartment and everybody was fine. Everyone was able to move around just fine and get all of their stuff done, get to the bathroom, be able to cook, all of that fun stuff. There's also a tiny little mezzanine level above that one. And then we have a very tiny, oddly shaped bedroom, but I used the bed from high school years, and then these end tables from, I believe those are from Modern Luxe Kit. I really enjoyed like the gold accents, and I kind of thought it matched the bed. So that is what we went with for that. Also, this little upper level above the children's room, that ends up being a playroom. So wanted to make sure I put a light up there so I would not forget, and a little ladder to access it. And now we can get to the cluttering. So thank you so much for sticking around this long. I know this is a bit of a longer one, so I appreciate your time. But we have this little entryway coming together. The little dresser thing, or hutch, whatever that is from movie hangout stuff. And then there's a little bench from the Jungle Adventure pack, and also a painting from Love Struck. And then we are over here in the living room. We have some beaded curtains going up that also came with Love Struck, and a beautiful rug from Jungle Adventure. And then I just kind of pack this little cubby thing with a bunch of different stuffies and decorations, and I believe like a candle tray with a book on it. I thought that came out pretty nice. There's also a bunch of plants in the living room, but mostly very simple. And then in the kitchen, we have some hanging aprons on the wall and a little piece of art. I also put in all of the amenities. We have the utensil holder and like little canisters of cooking stuff, and also some oven mitts, a little fruit basket over here. And then on the table, we have a candle, and I believe I put a tiny little plant of some kind on that table from the Cozy Kitsch kit, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember it was a very colorful little flower vase accumulation. It was very, very difficult to pick the right plants for this room because I wanted colorful, but not something I've used every single time I've decorated an apartment or a home. Over here, we also have a little painting corner. I guess I kind of decided that this student is an art student, so there you go. And in this bathroom, very simple. I didn't include too much footage of it, but there is all of the bathroom clutter amenities, the soap pump and the toothpaste cup, which I did have to use the little shelf trick to get them where I wanted them on the sink, because this sink is one of the few that doesn't have a slot for those things, even though I think there's plenty of room to have a slot for those. You know, I don't make the game, I just play it. It's okay. And then there's also some towels on the wall. Those are base game. And then this little rug here on the floor is from bathroom clutter as well. And a little lacy curtain on the window. Now in here, there is also a desk, because if this is a student, I would think they would want a separate workspace from their kitchen. So I threw in a laptop and a bunch of little office stuff, a tiny little light, some of the comfy gamer kit things, I believe, also like an organizer, some books, a little notebook just for kicks, just because I thought it looked nice, and tried to make it look like a very used and loved little workspace, because I also love my little workspace, even though I have to disassemble mine and put it back together every single night so that my kids do not destroy it. Here's some more beaded curtains to match what is in the rest of the room, and also some little basket lights at the entryway because I thought they were pretty. Those are from Desert Luxe as well. And then over here at the bachelor's house, we're going to clutter up his kitchen. He has some soap pump and stuff over near the sink. And then I also put a wall decoration behind the sink. I'm not sure what it was. Okay, it was this lovely little boat from Dine Out. I don't know why. It just looked nice there. I needed something on the wall. And then we have some more kitchen clutter stuff, some herbs, and some little canisters of dry goods. I also threw in a blender, which came with Adventure Awaits, which is not the most recent pack that's come out, but it's the most recent one that I purchased. So we have some pots and knives hanging on the wall, a little Lazy Susan for organization, a little painting over here, my favorite daffodils, and then also a little set of like teacups and stuff on the island. I thought that was nice. And then we are back into the bedroom. I have added some bedside lights on the end tables and also a piece of art. Then we're going to clutter up the dresser a little bit, adding some like folded shirts and shoes and whatnot. Little laundry basket on the floor I thought was very realistic. And then some baskets, some plants, and some books, just because I think that came out really nice. And the ceiling light is from Growing Together. It is one of my favorites. It's very easy to use. The curtains on the wall are from Modern Luxe, I believe, in that blue tone, which I don't get to use very often, but I thought it worked really well in here. And then I think that this gentleman graduated recently, so he has his diploma and some pictures of his university up on the wall. Over here in the entertainment area, we have these like built-in bookshelf kind of things. So I did clutter them up quite a bit with books, boxes, and baskets, and video game collections, and all kinds of fun stuff. And I think I also threw in like some little toys, like little model cars and buildings and whatnot. I just tried to kind of fill in as much as I possibly could. This little trolley, which I thought was adorable. I just did my best. I didn't want it to be completely empty. I thought it would look silly, so tried to throw in as many things as I could so that it looked like someone actually lived here and like entertained in this room. Maybe they stream video games or something and they want to have a nice background. I'm not sure, but I thought, you know, might as well have the option to have a nice background. And over here near the computer desk, I'm going to throw in a bunch of those like little Sims toy things. They look like bobbleheads to me, but I threw in a bunch of those. There's a little desk lamp, there's some snow globes, and I also wanted to throw on this very large boat to put on top of the dresser. And I think it looks really cute right there. And also some Sims for posters, because those are just nice. So if this person is a gamer or they enjoy video games, their little office space is decorated just for them. Up back here in the family apartment, I'm adding some plants and also that basket of like towels and blankets and pillows and stuff, because it kind of sort of hides the fact that you can see a tiny bit of the street lamp that is going through the wall, right? You can't even tell. And then there's also a painting on the wall that came with, I believe, for rent. Over here at the dining table, we have some mail clutter, a wine bottle, and a little candle like in a jar. I thought that was nice. And then we have our other kitchen essentials just going onto the counter. I'm going to arrange them in some kind of way, of course, because I need to have clutter in my kitchens. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. And then I think I also threw in a little kitchen timer, and it just did not want to slot for the life of me. So I had to move everything around and put it all back together. And I also made sure that they have a dishwasher. I'm pretty sure they have the one that came with Home Chef Hustle. By the way, I think all of the appliances in here came with Home Chef Hustle amongst all of the condos because I thought they looked the nicest. Over here in the bathroom, I did throw up a little shelf from Paranormal Stuff, and that is the only thing I'm really showing of the bathroom because that is the most interesting part about it. The rest of it is pretty boring, but I did put some towels and I think a little candle on top of that shelf because I thought it looked really nice. It's also very squishy, so it's kind of hard to see. And there's that cabinet I put in to hide the little pergola slats that were sticking through. It's a very cute little bathroom. I hope you enjoy it. And then we're upstairs in the hallway, threw in a little hallway table and a light, and I believe another plant or two up here. I was just trying to fill up this space, but also make sure your Sims could like walk around in it. That's kind of important. You have to be able to navigate the space. I believe I also used the rug from Laundry Day, this like jute rug. I thought that was really nice, and a little lemon plant out in the hallway. And here in the parents' room, we have some lovely curtains going in. Those are also from Movie Hangout Stuff, but they're just in that beige tone. This beautiful rug from Horse Ranch, because I very much enjoy that as well. And then over here by the window, I thought there should be more plants because there's so many plants outside the window. I assume that this sim would open the window to like water and tend to their plants, so there must be some plants inside as well. That is the only thing that made sense to me. And I also put up some empty picture frames so you can fill up those frames with pictures of the Sims family. I thought that was a nice little touch, nice little detail to add. And then I replaced the ceiling light with, I think, just the wall lights that came with Growing Together, these little globe lights. I just put a few of them in here. I didn't want to make it overly bright in this room, so I tried to just keep it to a few of those little globe lights. And I think that's pretty much it for that room. And now we are into the daughter's room. So you'll see the dresser from high school years. I also threw in a very large stuffy and a little tiny imaginary friend doll. I have not actually had the chance to play with them yet, really. So I don't know. They kind of creep me out. But, you know, however you want to play, you can always just delete it when you move in here if you wanted to. I used these curtains also from, I believe those came with base game. Pretty sure they're base game. And then some little starlights on the wall because I wanted to brighten up the space without having to add a ceiling light, and some decorations on the wall as well. And then I added these lovely little glowing butterflies to the wall going towards where the ladder is. And then up the ladder, we're going to have a dollhouse and I believe a toy box. And I think I also put down like a bunch of stuffies. I tried to keep it really like, I don't know, whimsical, but also I wanted it to be like, okay, look, kid, like I know that you want to have a spot for your toys, but it's going to have to go in the attic because there's just no space in your room. So I tried to put up some really pretty curtains. Those are also from Paranormal Stuff Pack. And then try to kind of pair some toys and some non-playable objects over here in the corner just because I thought they looked nice. And I wanted it to look cute and cozy and like filled with this kid's toys. I just thought it was really nice. Also a little wall mural of like a tree with some birds, and this rug that came with base game update maybe a few years ago whenever Growing Together came out. And now we are going to work on the very last condo. So this is their little outside patio space. I think this is where they do most of their cooking. Honestly, this is way bigger than their kitchen is, so that would make a lot of sense. We have the picnic table going in from, I believe, Island Adventure, and I just tried to pick the most neutral wood tone I could find. They also have a little grill with some tools on top of a crate outside. There's a little candle on the table, and I have some of these like creeping plants going up the wall. I made a little trellis with these items here, like the little slats from Eco Lifestyle. So I thought that was very nice. And then another big plant from Jungle Adventure in this corner over here. And I also added some lights, the matching lights from the rest of the building. And of course, a mailbox. I just forgot their trash can, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. Over here in the living room, we have the purple rug from high school years, and then the painting that came with, I believe, Love Struck or For Rent. I can't remember, but I thought that it matched really well with all of the colors in this space. And then in the kitchen, I decided to throw in some shelves because there's not a whole lot of countertop space to clutter up. I had to make more space for clutter. So that is who I am as a person. We have a bunch of dry stuff in the containers and like a little kitchen timer. We have some cereal boxes on top of the fridge as well as a bread box. We have a little cookie jar and I think some canisters, a little stack of plates for whatever reason, and then a little light. And I do arrange them in a way that they all make sense, but I think I do that off camera. We're upstairs in the bedroom. I had to move down these flowers because they were poking through the floor. If you still see a little bit poking through the floor, no, you didn't. I did my best, okay? And anyway, we're in the bedroom and we have a mirror from Seasons and then this plant, which I think also came with Paranormal Stuff Pack, if I'm not mistaken. I just think it's really pretty and I like how it kind of took up that corner space. And then we have these lovely curtains that came with, I think it's Growing Together, and these paintings that came with Adventure Awaits. I just thought they looked really pretty. So I threw those in here. The mirror from Modern Luxe because that matches the end tables and dresser. And this lovely tree from Riviera Retreat as well. I think it's supposed to be some kind of lemon tree as well. I just thought it looked really, really pretty. And I didn't know what else to put there. Throw a plant in the corner. And then another painting over here on the wall. I think this one is Base Game. And I just used Tool Mod to size it down a little bit so that it would fit nicely in the corner. Some more of those globe lights on the wall because there just wasn't quite enough light in here. But I did not want to use a ceiling light. I thought that it would be a little too big. And then this rug that came with Book Nook kit, it's very neutral in color and there's not a whole lot going on with it, but I think that it's perfect for that space. This little tiny hallway gets a large vase and one curtain because nothing else will fit in there. And then also outside I added a little fenced in area for our little imaginary building and I threw in this jungle gym setup for the one and only child that lives here for now. You never know, there might be some neighborhood children that pop over here just to play, and also some trees and other landscaping. So I really hope that you enjoyed this one. This is the view of the outside of our building. I don't have any live mode footage of the actual Sims because I ran out of time and patience. But I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in the next one. Let me know what you would do differently, or if you plan on downloading this, if you plan on getting rid of that shell building and expanding it, because that is also an option. I also want to know what you think in general about the state of life, because that's a good topic. Anyway, thanks so much for being here today, guys. Bye.